Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome Michael Gray Griffith to the show. Michael, welcome to the studio.
So you didn't see the shooting and you didn't see the urination, but you decided to go with the urination because you thought us urinating was a bigger story than the police shooting protesters on the road. Israel now, they're actually losing the sympathy that they used to have for the Holocaust.
This is why the Yanks are winning. They have a mentality of abundance, whereas Australia has a scarcity mindset and a tall poppy syndrome.
If you took the jab and nothing affected you, you just went on as though everything was normal. If you didn't, you began an odyssey. You had to find new skills, new courage. You have to test yourself. What do I really believe? What am I prepared to die for, basically?
The moment the politicians during COVID started capturing the media by giving them these massive tax deductions to survive, they essentially bought the media.
I was beaten up by police that day. One was smashing my head into the concrete with a shield going, "Stop making me do this, stop making me do this." And the third time I said, "I'm actually not making you do this." And I saw all these horrific things, but I was never scared. This person gets on the TV and says what to do with your unvaccinated family members. It allowed fear for me to call you up and go, "Joel, you can't come to Christmas." As far as I believe, this is evil.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 43 of the Ark podcast. Today, I've got for you someone who hasn't had a chat with me on camera for some time, maybe 2 or 3 years. It might have been in Canberra at the protests. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome Michael Gray Griffith to the show. Michael, welcome to the studio.
Thank you, Joel. I was actually in a hotel room in Sydney.
Oh, it was too. Yeah, that's right. Near UTS, my old uni.
That's correct.
Yeah, around the corner. Yeah, so Michael, what I love about you, and the reason why I'm really keen to chat to you about where things are at in Australia, but also how it can move forward as a movement, is you think about things in a way that I think most people don't. And I think it's partly to do with the fact you came from the arts in Melbourne, and obviously what you went through losing your job in the arts as well, the arts industry. You understand how culture's made. You understand how the fabric of Australia was made and what actually makes it really a special place in the world and unique. And I'm very keen to chat to you about that, but also what you've been seeing around the country. You've gotten hundreds of millions of views, maybe even 1 billion views by this point, going around just interviewing people on the street and giving them the mic. And I also want to get your takes on a few stories in a bit about Anthony Albanese, what his comments have been, but also looking at some of the things that have been going on at Sky News, letting some staff go. But welcome to the new studio. It's a pleasure to finally have you in. We've been talking about doing this for a while, but it's a pleasure to finally have you here.
Yeah, it's nice to actually see a studio, you know? Yeah, it's great. It's exciting.
So one of the reasons why, and I didn't want to talk about this until the cameras were on. One of the reasons why I set up the Ark studio a year ago was I was, like yourself, very dissatisfied with the mainstream media. And I wanted you to share the story that you saw when you were at a protest and the mainstream media chose to turn their cameras away or not record at all, if you could.
So it was about my third protest, I think. It was the morning of the Shrine shooting, where they shot us at the Shrine. And what people don't realise is that there were armoured cars in the street all morning. And I took a picture of one literally 20 seconds before I was shot by a rubber bullet. So they shot me in the hand. And after I got past that, I came across a Channel 7 or a Channel 9, maybe 10, I don't know, one of those news reporters. They were doing a live. The reporter was wearing a mask and her hand was trembling. The cameraman was just looking at me and there was just tears in his eyes. And I was literally begging them to film this armoured car. I was saying, they're shooting your children. They're shooting our children. And it was a Pulitzer Prize winning image. If they turned it around, it would have been the equivalent of, say, that young girl in Vietnam walking out of the flames with her arms out. And they wouldn't. They just looked at me and they wouldn't do it. And then that night they did a story that we were right-wing Nazis and we were the perpetrators, but we were the victims. And it made me realise then we don't have journalists anymore. And it really inspired me to continue on with Cafe Lockdown and say this is it. We have to do it because they're not doing it and we need these stories out.
Yeah. No, look, and again, I'm really looking forward to this chat because I think that is the crux of the problem. Because the media, as you'd appreciate, were the guardians of democracy. They were the ones meant to keep the politicians' feet to the fire.
That's correct.
But the moment the politicians, during COVID, started capturing the media by giving them these massive tax deductions to survive during COVID because it was a crisis, they essentially bought the media. It's a bit like what happened to the church in the USA. They got tax deductible status and threatened with losing tax deductible status. They didn't initiate same-sex marriage and all these other doctrines as well. And it's like, oh, this isn't anything to do with same-sex marriage. This is a control mechanism to control
fascism,
cultural institutions and fascism. So with the Ark studio, I set it up early last year, and I was in two minds about whether I should do this at the end of 2023. I was like, we won the referendum, maybe I should just go back to construction and property development, and things have simmered down. We're in peace times. I really thought about it. I thought, hang on, this is why you're wrong, Joel. Nothing has changed with the corporate media. They begrudgingly came around once the mood in the country had changed. They begrudgingly came around. But it only happened because you had the movers and shakers, those people with voices online that tapped into that energy. So we actually need to get serious about setting up a war room, a mainstream media studio, but in alternative media hands. Yeah. Hence why and again, people can't see the setup, but hence why I was basically like, all right, I'm going to find the money and we're going to put it down. And thanks to a few interest-free loans from friends of the show, supporters that were out there, we were able to establish the Ark and also Bitcoin. I trade a bit of Bitcoin and it happened. But I wanted to start off by talking about this story, which really ties into the failure of the mainstream media. And I think you guys will see where I'm going with this. So Liz Storer, lovely lady, knew her during COVID, was totally on the same page with us. This story just came out thanks to Chris Scovery's friend of the show, Chris de Bruyn, who's been on many times. There was a radio show that Chris Smith, another former Sky News person, did on his radio show. And this is what the post reads, basically, that she was let go because of not pulling the line on Sky News. And this is the particular audio that we're talking about.
Like I say, the mask has slipped. And look, when you're hearing from Sky News, again, I'm sorry to say, their alliance with Israel, and this is what I was told by them themselves, is an alliance that began before Sky News Australia even existed, okay? So they have a vested interest. They are only going to pump out the same propaganda that Israel has done so relentlessly. And I'm sorry to say, Bruce, I just don't believe that you can believe that anymore. I was a believer. I changed my tune. And now I'm no longer at Sky, and those two things are very much related. Because if you talk about the evil that's happening over there, if you have a conscience, if you have a single firing neuron in your brain going, hang on a minute, you mean to tell me everybody else but Sky News Australia is lying? That doesn't match up. No, the truth of the matter is far more evil than you can possibly imagine. So, yeah, when it comes to Israel, I wouldn't get your news from Sky News Australia.
Now, Michael, I'd like to think you're a bit like me. Country, 14,000 k's away, whatever. But why are Aussie journalists getting censored on this? Not just on Sky, but also the ABC. What's going on with this stuff?
I truly, to be honest, I try to deal with my own country and the own battle we've got and trying to capture the stories from there. I do feel, though, they're really ramping up the Palestine side now. And you almost feel like it's gravity pulling you in You have to have a position on this. Where to me, initially, I'm a big believer that the initial border crossing by Hamas was a false flag.
Right.
The first week, I have one of our podcasters called Leon Kovmansky, and he got hold of a Jewish, an Israeli guy who just finished a tour of being a border guard. And he said there is absolutely no way that border crossing could have happened. He said if a sparrow lands on a handrail, it's got an Apache helicopter up its butt. And the fact that it took him 6 hours to get from here to there, it just doesn't wash. Even the fact that, it's going to get me in so much trouble, even the fact that they had those gyrocopters. Now, we know that Israel filters everything coming into Palestine. So you're telling me that the border guards are sitting there watching Palestinians fly gyrocopters over Palestine going, oh, look, they're stopping killing us now they've got a new hobby. Isn't that sweet?
Yeah.
I mean, how'd they get them in? How do you... I mean, if I gave you a gyrocopter and said, okay, here's your AK-47, here's all these weapons, and here's your manual how to fly, off you go.
Yeah.
No, you'd have to train. I've talked to people who've flown them. They're really hard to fly.
Yeah.
So you're telling me Mossad and the CIA weren't aware of this? It does not make sense. So I feel that it is it's a false flag from the beginning, and we're just being pulled into it. I don't know what they're doing, but what I personally think they're doing is they're dividing the world. You've got Israel's and Palestinian protesters all over the world attacking each other like crazy. For a globalist agenda. If this is what we're facing, this is a perfect way to distract the whole world whilst they're doing other things that they actually care about. So I don't know. I'm too small and too far down the rung to know what's going on. I'm just trying not to get infected by the hate, because these guys have been fighting since I was a child.
Look, this topic first came up for me as a commentator in 2021. Kicking off the fight, there were some rockets that were launched from Gaza into Israel, and Israel fighting back and whatever. And a lot of people, as they say, it's like, all right, red or blue? And it's like, I don't know, I like purple. It's like, no, red or blue? Which one? I'm going to kill you. If you're not red, then you're against us. I'm like, well, no, I like purple. Like, no, you're not with us. And both sides do it. Both sides do it. And if there's one thing that I know you hate, it's censorship. It's freaking censorship. And so when I see this story from Sky, when I see this story very similar to what happened during COVID, the forcing of a binary rather than humanity coming out and crushing this political nonsense, it's like, what about Australia first? What do you mean Palestine first? What do you mean Israel first? They've got to survive. What about freaking Australians?
Yeah, that's correct.
And that's, I think, really what really me about politics on this topic is there's no topic that divides my audience more than this one. And it's like, guys, we got a ton of problems in Australia. This doesn't make my top 100.
No.
Not even close.
Because there's nothing we can do about it.
100%. We're a weak country.
There's no words that we could use today that are going to have any effect. We're just not.
Yeah.
And so, but we can have an effect here in our country.
Absolutely, yeah.
And there needs to be rigorous discussion about what's happened in the last 5 years. Everyone wants to move on. I don't want to move on.
Yeah.
Half of or 3/4 of my country became Nazis in an afternoon.
Yeah.
And you people like yourself, for the first 3 years, you were living with the real possibility that any time you could be rounded up and thrown in a camp. They built the camps. It didn't happen, but it was there. And you still did what you were doing, even though that threat was there. I used to see protesters holding signs going, you're going to need a bigger camp, which I really admired their bravery. But they knew there was a chance that we could be rounded up.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about this. It's like the plane crash in India. It crashed, and they're straight on. Why did it crash? What could have possibly happened? Pilot error? Our entire culture crashed.
Yeah.
And we don't want to investigate why.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, look, let's see what the Prime Minister had to say to it. Because, again, this is probably the only time. I don't like the Prime Minister. I don't. But he is our Prime Minister. And I appreciated him saying this. So this is what Anthony Albanese had to say about the Israel-Palestine conflict.
People are not responsible for the actions of either Hamas, terrorist organisations, or governments do. The young Jewish boy or girl going to the local school should not be harassed because of who they are. They are not responsible for what is going on in Gaza. And Arab Australians or Muslims are not responsible for what Hamas did. Now, there's no place for anti-Semitism, there's no place for Islamophobia, there's no place for hatred in this country. Most Australians who don't follow this on a day-to-day basis, who don't think this is like fighting for a team in a game, that what they want is for innocent lives to not be lost, for people to stop killing each other. That's what they just think about when they think about the Middle East.
Yeah, I don't know why the comments were removed, but I think it was Primod, Muslim guy, Muslim podcaster in Sydney. He said, hey, this is the most sense he's made in a long time.
Yeah, that's great.
And, you know, Primod's pro-Palestine. He's just like, yeah, like we actually don't, it's not a priority. Like the killing should stop. We want a ceasefire. Obviously, you know, the hostages should obviously be returned. Anyone with any humanity believes that. But also stop eradicating the Palestinians. But also, can we get back to the other 100 issues in Australia? Like a decent human beings?
Grief is the only thing I have for it, for both sides.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, Israel now has got to such a point because of the, I call it, it's almost like genocide by Instagram. And they're actually losing the sympathy that they used to have for the Holocaust. Now, that's a huge effort. I mean, that is like golden sympathy, victim status for the rest of as long as humankind exists.
Yeah.
And yet now no one cares anymore because they're doing what happened to them. And so I just think, I just can't see why they can't just get to a point and stop. They've got kids. What's going to where's the end point here?
Yeah.
How do you get to a point where your children can just go about their daily life without having rockets rain down on them?
Absolutely. And look, guys, this isn't a far-off thing that has no bearing on Australia. Obviously, it's not a big priority. But this weekend, there is a protest across the Sydney Harbour Bridge. And there's a huge free speech fight going on between the New South Wales government with the police and the protest organisers. I do believe it's the Greens party that are organising this. Not that that should be a huge impact. There are various speakers speaking at this thing. But this is what's playing out. And look, I think you might agree with these comments from Chalky, awesome guy on Instagram and TikTok. I'm just going to play his video now. It was really interesting to hear what he had to say with it, and I really did agree with these sentiments. Check this out. Oh, looks like it's muted.
In my face, but we've got to talk about it.
Before I play it, by the way, there is swearing in this. So for those of you that have kids, there's swearing in this. Chalky, he does this thing where he swears a lot. So sorry.
This could really blow up in my face, but we've got to talk about it. Let me say first, in no way, shape or form do I condone what's going on overseas. But the issue that I'm bringing up here is that all of you are happy to march for another country's issues, but you won't march for your own. Australian families are going homeless because our system's failing them. Australian children are not safe because the system protects predators. And to top it off, our crime rates are through the fucking roof and our legal system's a joke. But would any of you stand up and march for that? No. Because you're too fucking concerned about someone else's issues. So while you Australians focus on everything else around the world, understand that our country is on a fucking nosedive and you're doing nothing about it because it doesn't currently affect you. And that's not fucking good enough. You want to change the world? Make sure your country is functioning for its fucking people first. Protect your children, protect your family, and protect your fucking neighbour within your own country. And that's my take from the controversial coach. If you don't like it, fuck off.
I love Chalky. So good.
Do you know what's really interesting? What's happening in this country now is we're leaving a philosophical desert called the era of she'll be right, where you don't talk about anything that matters. It's politically incorrect to bring up anything other than your kitchen renovation, footy, and maybe your new car or your holiday. That era is coming to an end because we're broke, we're unhealthy, and we don't see where we're going. We're losing our country. And so out of that rubble, suddenly philosophers are standing up. The man's a philosopher. He might swear a lot. He might not do it the way you naturally think, but he's talking free speech. He's talking what he thinks. He's calling out the problem. And all across the country, you're doing it. All across the country, people are standing up and doing it. And that's the hope. We're rising from it. And basically, we're becoming the architects of the new future because the other side has nothing to offer the people. What the other side is offering to, say, yourself men, is saying, Joel, I want you to be ashamed that you're a heterosexual man. I want you to be ashamed that you're Australian, and I want you to wrap all that shame up in silence and take it to the grave. We're saying, we've got your manhood. We've got your individuality as a human being.
Yeah.
We want to celebrate who Joel Jamal is, just as you are, and bring that to the story of humanity. And so we're offering the freedom for you to be you. And so ultimately we're going to win because that other product that they're selling, there's nothing in it that's conducive to the human soul. And bit by bit, people will realize that.
Yeah.
You know?
No, absolutely. No, I totally agree, man. Absolutely. And yeah, look, I think that really does speak to the ethos of what Australians are like. We're for a fair go.
Yeah.
Yes, we are a melting pot, but we did have a dominant culture in this country. We did actually have a cohesion before COVID. We did have a relatively cohesion. And yeah, that's just something we do feel like we're losing from our grasp. But yeah.
It's interesting, they divided us with political correctness. That political correctness was simply a tool to divide us. Before that, I had a lot of my family moved a lot, but one of the places I eventually grew up was a suburb called Midland in WA. And this might get me in trouble, but it was full of wogs. There was Greeks, there was Italians, there was other races, Yugoslavians, us, and we just got on. And we used those terms on each other.
Yeah.
Hey, Skip, hey, Wog, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
We were actually mates, and our children interbred, and this is how we got on.
Yeah.
And I used to love going to, say, my Italian friend's family because the mum would feed me with food that I could never taste from my Welsh mum, who just did basic food.
Yeah.
And then they'd read my coffee.
Yeah.
You know, he was like
traveling.
Right, they turn it over and they'd go, and she'd go, and you go, what? What's And she'd go, You know, you're like 13.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Does it mean I'm getting a girlfriend? Because that's all I cared about.
Yeah.
But, you know, but
funny.
But we learned. It was a beautiful thing, and our lives were enriched by each other.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And I think now they've got, that's racist, this, and everyone's too scared to speak. And so you default to silence.
Yeah.
And what that default does is it separates us. And that's why I think we all look at our phones, because it's safe.
Yeah.
You know, rather than actually having a discussion with someone else. You know.
So Michael, tell me, you're in town.
Yeah.
What brings you here, and why do you keep driving around the country?
Do you know, it's a really strange thing.
What was that?
Something happened the other day, because I always doubt.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Are you crazy?
Yeah.
You know, why are you doing this? But I parked in a truck stop above Coffs Harbour. I had to come down to Sydney. I'll tell you why in a sec. Above Coffs Harbour. In the morning, I needed fuel, and the GPS took me to this remote garage. And there I am filling up, and this beautiful young man comes up and goes, "Cafe Lockdown." And I'm thinking, oh, you know us. He's a paramedic from Victoria who lost his job because he wouldn't take the juice. But he's from the Eastern Bloc originally. And he had this amazing story, and I said to him, this would be a great interview. And he said, I can't do it, I'm busy. Because his job now was repairing Bowsers in these petrol stations.
Yeah.
Anyway, we went to Coffs Harbour, then we went to Port Macquarie. We meant to go somewhere else in Port Macquarie, that fell through. And then I parked on the foreshore. I don't even know if it's a lake or a river. I parked on the foreshore for about half an hour. Who walks past with his wife? This gentleman. I didn't even know he lived in Port Macquarie. And I said, "Brother, you've got to tell your story now." And he said, "Yeah, I do." He told the story. It's done very well. And I just feel that I've taken a leap of faith. In the morning of the shrine where my life changed, I prayed for the first time in my life, really prayed.
Wow.
And what I said was, you don't owe me anything. I've spent most of my life trying to pretend you didn't exist. And then I reached a place of being agnostic. But now I can see that there's an evil taking over the world. And I can't leave this protest today because I can't leave armoured vehicles in the future of my children. But I can't stay because I'm too scared. So if you'll take away my fear, I'll work for you. And my fear went in a second. I was beaten up by police that day. One was smashing my head into the concrete with a shield going, stop making me do this, stop making me do this. And the third time I said, I'm actually not making you do this. And I saw all these horrific things, but I was never scared. Shot by rubber bullet, not scared. And so I don't have a structured religion, but I have a faith that I've given myself to some greater purpose, and I just follow the compass in my soul. And all I'm interested in is celebrating the beauty of this community that has arisen, I call it the Army of Light, out of a period of great darkness. And that's what I see COVID is. COVID was a Pearl Harbor attack on our country. They tried to smother us with the darkness. Even Christmas, like I often say this, I probably said this to you before, say we were brothers and we couldn't stand each other. But on Christmas, we come out of prayer to love, and there's our mother and stuff, and I go, hey, Joel, and we grin and bear it, but it was a homage to love. This person on the TV, Koshi, gets on the TV and says, what to do with your unvaccinated family members. It allowed fear for me to call you up and go, Joel, you can't come to Christmas. As far as I believe, this is evil. This is fear defeating love. So I don't know if there is a devil, but that would be the work of the devil. Right. You know, this is one of the holiest days, Christmas. Even if you don't believe in religion, it's a day where we come together out of love. We just try. Yeah. And they were able to divide that. And people, when I interview people, when they bring up that they weren't invited to Christmas, they tear up. It still hurts them that much because that sacred bond was broken. And so I'm very interested in celebrating this is why I interviewed you in that hotel room. I'm very interested in celebrating the giants of our movement. And the giants aren't always the people you see on the podcasts. There's people everywhere doing stuff. Rosemary Marshall is a new one. But there's even there's a woman called Margie who's in like her late 70s in Mildura. She makes cups for the movement. And she'll go down to Kmart. Say you got her making your mugs. She'll go down and make them at Kmart for $5, and then she sells them and she sends you the money. Yeah. And this is some woman who's trying to do something in her small way. And so that's why I say we're in the Army of Light. We've got no generals, no brigades, no medals, no shrines will be built to us. And yet all of us have stood up and said, no, this is wrong, and we're all trying our different way to move forward.
It's funny, you know, having spoken, I'm sure you see this a lot with the various people in the movement, but having spoken to a few of them, they're kind of the heads with these followings. It's been interesting watching some of them stop using the word freedom movement. Yeah. And I understand why. I think it was, I can't remember who said this, but they said populist movements are often better defined by what they oppose rather than what they stand for.
Oh, that's interesting.
Which I really thought was quite apt, because it's like, we're for, if you think about it, at all the rallies, we're for basically bodily autonomy when it comes to this jab. Choice and freedom of movement. And that's not an affirmative thing. That's actually, you know, like a negative right in a way. It is an affirmative right, but it's like it's a reaction to what the government's overreach was. Yes, correct. Whereas it's not like we're Christians. Like that's a very different definition. Yes. To what the freedom movement defines itself as. There's a lot of overlap. And when I thought about that, I was like, okay, so once you remove the opposition to what defines us, of course it's going to break apart.
Well, it's interesting. I'm not so sure that it has broken apart in a way. Like people say people aren't coming to the rallies, but that's because I wrote a piece where I said the government is using a language with the protests, and it's the language of ignoring us. So we became disillusioned. We realized people like to do something they know is going to have an effect. And no matter, we had 1 million at Canberra, they ignored it, 10,000. So we're realizing, well, the marches just don't do anything anymore. They don't work. And what the movement has done is split up into smaller tribes, you know, of which you're probably one of the elders of your tribe.
I call it shepherds.
Yeah, shepherds.
with small flocks.
Yeah, that's right. And it's gone. There's the constitutional people, there's the common law people, the natural law people who are slightly different.
Yeah.
So it's driving into all these groups, and everyone is trying to climb the mountain of liberty their own way. And I think that's healthy. I know there's a lot of the movement were very angry with William Bay for things that he did, and they cut him out of their life. And they were actually telling me, you can't associate William Bay, he's bad for the movement.
Censorship, great.
But then William Bay had this enormous win. He had the first great victory in courts against APRA.
Yeah.
You know, Dr. Paul Oosterhouse had a win a few years before, which got missed, and that was a significant win too in the Supreme Court. But William Bay beat 2 barristers and 10 silks.
Right.
And all by himself.
Right.
And so, and then the movement was calling me after his number to sort of welcome him. And I thought, this is evidence that we don't know what's going to win.
Yeah.
We don't know who's on the correct path. So we've got to try all of them. And we shouldn't really put each other down. I just wish in the movement, instead of attacking each other, we just say, well, I don't believe what you believe, but I respect your passion for doing it.
That's going to happen.
And that respect is what we base upon. And we just have a rule that we don't air our dirty linen online.
Yeah. Yeah, look, what has it been, 5 years? Mate, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's just going to happen. People are going to do that. But the way you orient yourself, I mean, the way I've handled it, it's a bit like what happened with Bosie. Had a disagreement, agreed to handle it offline, and we did. And everyone's like, what happened between them two? It was frankly irrelevant.
Yes.
It was frankly irrelevant. He went off and did his own thing. He said he was going to register the A1 party and win political seats. And I said, the show's ended. We were going to stop once the US election was done, 2020, and we did. And we split, and that was it. And there's obviously more to it, but it's frankly irrelevant for the purposes of saving the nation. It's frankly irrelevant.
Exactly right.
And I think if someone doesn't handle it like that, then you just cut them out. As a shepherd of a flock, you're just like, well, look, I only deal with people where we handle things behind the scenes and we keep moving forward like adults. Like Topher Field's great.
Yeah.
We've had disagreements. We talk off camera, but he's always welcome to come in anytime. It's like that's how it should be.
I have the same relationship with Topher, except I haven't had any disagreements with him, but I've had disagreements with others in the movement. But see, Cafe Lockdown now was originally just me, and then Damien joined me, and we had a falling out, but I never talk about it.
Yeah, sure.
Because it's of no importance.
It's love of the work. Love of the work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I think it's 13 podcasters. Now Jason Olborn has just joined us, so he's going to syndicate to us.
He's a great guy.
And what it is, it's syndicating. So it's not like, oh, you work for us. It's just like you do your show. Hey, can we stream to your audience as well? We might pick up, say, a third of people who don't watch you here. They can watch you there. And I think that's healthy. I think if we could we have the possibility to actually have overseas streamers streaming from, say, midnight to 7 in the morning. So you get up and there's streamers from here. So it's becoming a channel.
And that's my point. This is the natural course of things.
Yeah.
Time reveals everything. Personalities reveal everything. And, as much as people are generally dumb, our movement, they work it out. They work out who's really actually delivering value through journalism, commentary, or activism. Everything you see in our movement, it fits under those 3 categories: journalism, commentary, and activism. That's it. And you work out pretty quickly who's in it for something else.
Yeah.
Bull crap. And that's why I'm like, yeah, man, you're going to get those comments. Like our movement, it's just full of people like that just like, look at me, but they don't last very long.
No, they don't.
They come and go. They burn out.
No, they don't. You have to have the future. I tell people sometimes, if you want to get inspired, close your eyes and listen to the spiritual voices of the Australians who aren't even being conceived of yet. your grandchildren, or your great-grandchildren, who might just be told one day, "Oh, this is your great-great-grandfather Joel. This is what he did in this terrible time."
Yeah.
And because that's worthy to keep going, because right now, if you look at resistance movements, say the French resistance, I bet you couldn't find a French person in Australia who would admit that their grandfather wasn't in the resistance. And in actual fact, it was only 10%. So the chances are it's mostly they weren't. They probably actually...
Maybe they were the ones that just procreated. They got all the women. You never know, Mike.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that we are this rare historical group.
It's cool.
And we're making it up as we go along.
Yeah.
My favourite group is called the Edelweiss Pirates, which were the people like us who were stood up against the Nazis in pre-war Nazi Germany. But they just in-fought and they failed to... They've literally been lost to history.
Yeah.
And so I think that's healthy in a way because it goes, okay, they didn't and failed. There's a great paper you can get from the Einstein website called From Dictatorship to Democracy, which talks about numerous freedom movements, what happened, what goes wrong, what succeeds, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just a great... I've been using it from the beginning. And what they say, the most important part is to go, you'll be infiltrated, they'll try to use disillusion to make you disillusioned, to give you up. There'll be false claims, all this. But what he said in it is that the first bravest ones, which is, say, like yourself and the other, and Hoodie and all these, their job is to embolden the next 10%. Who are not brave enough to join us yet but want to, and finding ways to embolden them and to build numbers. And that's what I believe is our duty now, is to recruit.
Totally agree. And I think that's what you've sent me with these four, what do you call them, sources.
Yeah.
The first one is this bumblebee sort of...
this isn't... So these aren't my ideas. So this is based on an Australian blue-banded bee. Because we were looking for a symbol. We tried 832, but it's plateaued. And a lot of people don't like it because it's a quote from the Bible. So they don't want anything to do with the Bible. So it's sort of reached a point where it's not growing anymore, even though it was doing okay. But this bee, and it doesn't look like that, that's just based on it.
Sure.
It doesn't do hives. And it doesn't follow a queen.
Oh.
It's a free bee.
Really?
Yeah. And it's native to Australia.
What's it called?
It's called the blue-banded bee. Maybe you could look it up. Look it up there. It's called the blue-banded bee.
Right.
And it pollinates flowers by vibrating on it. And everyone, so many people in the movement go, we have to raise the vibration.
Yeah.
So the bee ticks a lot of boxes. But what the purpose of it, we're just trialing it. There it is. We're just trialing it, is to see whether that 10% would wear it as a badge, wear it on a cap. Because it's not that confrontational.
Yeah.
It's not like you're wearing something, bring down the government or this. You just got the bee. And so if I'm walking down the street, like we've got your producer friend over here, he's got a nondescript cap on.
Yeah.
But if I saw the blue bee, I could come up and go, hey, brother, how you going? You know, look, I'm a blue beer too, you know, and say yourself in your suit, you could have it on your socks.
Yeah.
So if you cross your legs, there's the blue bee.
Yeah.
And
it's a bit more subtle than MAGA.
This was told to me by a Romanian professor who was studying in communist times. He was studying propaganda, and he said people underestimate the power of symbols. A symbol cannot be crushed. You can draw. It's like the Christian fish.
Yeah.
And the Polish Solidarity movement had the candle in the window. Symbols can be they can't win everything, but they can be very powerful.
Yeah.
And because I'm one of the only ones in the movement that travels extensively, I can go into a town or a suburb and I see no freedom signs, nothing to show that our community is here until they come up to the bus.
Yeah.
So if I'm going down and I'm driving through, say, Wollongong, and I just see 30 or 40 blue bees, people walking around with their whatever, you can see the movement is growing.
Yeah.
And the other group that did this really well was the hippies.
Right.
The hippies did not have Instagram. They did not have guns. They got ostracized by their family. by their families for going against the government, basically.
Yeah.
And they were going against, they were basically challenging an authoritarian government that was doing this war. And they did it with fashion and music. So we can't remember who the leaders of the hippie movement were, but we still sing their songs, and we still wear paisley.
Yeah.
That's the power of art.
Yeah,
And in the movement, our movement has forgotten this.
Right.
So that's why, like, we've created some songs using AI and our own poetry. And a lot of the movement, they use songs from a bygone era, sung by singer-songwriters who don't actually like us.
Yeah.
Like The Voice. Johnny Farnham doesn't like us. Why are we using his song? I know we love it, but to me, I think the way forward to recruit is to celebrate the renaissance that is happening.
Yeah.
Humans are rising up. We need new songs, new poetry, new art, new fashion, new symbols. And that's how people, especially the young, will join us.
Yeah.
They'll gravitate to something new. And everything about us talks about basically celebrating humanity itself. Because the other thing we're facing is automation, robotics and AI. We're basically, they're coming in to say, well, I don't know if you got the memo, but you guys are the dodos and we're your replacement.
Yeah.
You know, we're much cheaper slaves for the big corporations. We go 24/7. We don't need breaks.
Yeah.
So to me, moving forward, we've got to create a world where humans are at the center and the robots and AI and everything enhances our lives, surrounds us. But we have to have the discussions to do that, because at the moment, we're just having it rammed down our throat.
Yeah.
And
what are these songs these videos you've sent me? Are they going to get me pinged with some copyright strike or?
No, only me.
Only.
So one of the other reasons we did is when we were using songs in our videos, of course AI is going, you can't use this, you can't use this. So I thought, well, let's create our own.
Right.
And I was given a program called Suno. And I've been showing other poets in the movement saying, look, a poem on Facebook does nothing. People read it, does nothing.
Yeah.
Even if you read it out, generally they don't do that well. But you put it to music, and AI can find the music. You got something new, then you have a chance that it could go somewhere. It could even raise funds for the poets, funds for the podcasters doing it. And that's another thing to talk about, is making us financial.
We'll get into that, because I do want to come to that in a sec. So I'm going to play both of them. Let's play this first one with the Aussie flags.
Oh, so I want to talk. This is epic. I have a real belief, to build culture, we have to celebrate our history. And this is where I met you in the march.
Yeah.
We came down from Darwin with the dust in our veins. We drove across the Nullarbor, driven by change. There were convoys from Melbourne and busloads from Cairns, where we camped at Wodonga and fueled up at Pheasant's Nest. And there were tears of hope singing through our liberated eyes as we scrawled freedom forever across our government's lives. As we scrawled freedom forever across all our government's lives. We didn't come to start a war, and we didn't come to hate. Instead we came to remind you that we were still your mates. And we didn't come to start a war, and we didn't come to hate. Instead we came to remind you that it was not too late. But our country had gone crazy, corrupted by fear. And before us the long path was already flooded with tears. Yet in epic we were dancing, for we knew what we'd done. Together we'd made the birth of all our freedoms. And this new cry for liberty, with the smiles in our hugs, as the cops haunted our periphery like tyranny's new thugs. But for one night in Canberra, we knew we were aglow, and our luminance was shining like a beacon of hope. And we didn't come to start a war, and we didn't come to hate. Instead we came to remind you that we were still your mates. And we didn't come to start a war, and we didn't come to hate. Instead we came to remind you that it was not too late. So never forget how, by just being authentic, we drew a deep line in their cold sand, from a showground called epic. So never forget how, by leading the way, we wrote a fresh song of freedom that you can still sing today. So sing like you've never sung before. Sing now like your soul's found its wings. Sing out like an echo through our time, until our grandchildren are born humming our lines. Until our grandchildren are born in the freedom's warm and glorious light. Until our grandchildren are born in the freedom's warm and glorious light.
So that's a tribute to Epic. Now, if I did that in a studio, it probably cost me between $7,000 and $10,000. It cost me 10 cents.
Right.
10 cents.
AI.
So I wrote the lyrics, AI did the rest. And so yeah, 10 cents, there's no risk.
Right.
You know what I mean?
What's this next one?
The next one is called The Lucky Country. This was one I wrote, the lyrics I wrote before all this happened, but I was watching the decline. And so I use this now basically with the interviews and with my show. This is one of our opening songs.
Yeah.
And it just speaks about the decline of Australia.
Right.
And but still tries to do it with hope.
Yeah.
Which there's been incredible moments in this time. I actually believe we've all been through an odyssey, and not a journey, an odyssey. If you took the jab and nothing affected you, you just went on as though everything was normal. If you didn't, you began an odyssey. You had to find new skills, new courage. You had to test yourself. What do I really believe? What am I prepared to die for, basically? And so yeah, so this is what I'm sort of celebrating. So I don't know where I was going with that, but this song. Oh yes, that's right. And so very early on in the movement, when I was doing speeches in Melbourne, this young woman, Jai or something name was, came up to me and said, "You've got a moral obligation not to sell hopelessness, no matter how tight its grip." And so I've based my work on that.
Never sell hopelessness.
No matter how tight its grip. We've got a moral obligation to do that for our children, the next one's coming.
Right.
So we have to find the hope within everything.
Yeah.
It's flipping. It's really hard because you don't want to use false hope.
You don't want to lie.
Yeah.
But you've got to find the
hope.
Yeah.
And that makes you stronger because you realize, I'm going with the positive. There has to be something in here that actually makes us grow, makes us hurt, makes us realize this is the wrong way.
Yeah.
We have to find it, and we have to offer that because that's what the world is crying for. It doesn't need any more fear. It gets fear from every angle every day. Its hope tanks are empty. And I think our job is to try fill that. Yes, it's really tough. Yes, we don't know how we're going to fix it. But the fact that we're trying is hope.
It's funny you should say that because I'm going to play a video a bit later about this. But yeah, I totally agree. And I was having this discussion a week or two ago. I did a video, which was that we got 6 years to save Australia, basically. Terrible framing. Terrible framing.
Got 1 year left.
Yeah, it was. It was funny because I did this video, and you know what it was. I'd been away from the camera for 2 months. I was in Europe. I was not. You'd understand this as a content creator. You can lose touch with the audience, and it's not that what I said was I'm going back on. It's that I retardedly phrased it. When I say that we've got 6 years to really turn this country around before we have to, it's going to get like increasingly difficult, electorally speaking, just in terms of the numbers. When I hear that, I'm like, all right, we've got to dig deep. We've got to double our efforts for the next 6 years. What I didn't realize, and this is the problem for not posting for 2 months, was when people hear that, they're like, all right, I got 6 years to get out of this place. You know, it's not the same reaction that I have.
Yeah.
See, for me, I'm like, let's freaking go. Let's run into the fire.
Yeah.
We need to save this place, and we're going to continue to fight even after the 6 years. But then when I listened back to it from the perspective of not Joel, I was like, oh, they're making their exit strategy, and I was watching a video of...
So you're starting the exodus. Everyone's going to Bali.
No, look, people are leaving, and they don't need my...
Yeah, they are.
They didn't need my permission to do that. But when people come, and this is what someone explained to me when coming back, because again, I was away for a while. They said, Joel, when people come to your videos, your history is one of finding the light despite the darkness.
Yes.
It's about, if I can say so myself, these aren't my words. He said, Joel, it's that aura you had when you were on the town hall steps. Despite the government locking New South Wales down, despite all of these immovable objects and unstoppable forces that were coming, you stood there and you yelled at the government and said, no, this is not okay. And you gave people a pathway to actually breathe their values into politics, whether that's with elections, whether that's with informing them with content, or, you know, doing petitions to recall Gladys Berejiklian back to the parliament or whatever. That is the sort of commonality with your videos. So your phrasing here isn't matching the brand in the past. And I love that line that you said just then from your friend, where she said you have an obligation.
A moral obligation not to sell hopelessness.
Not to sell hopelessness. And I was watching the video and I was like, Joel, you got to be better than that, the way you phrased that. And so and this is really what I was saying in that video. I was saying, if you're in a position where your business and your family is not able to operate in Australia, because we've got some crazy red tape. In Victoria, I think it's the worst place to start a small business. And on top of that, Victoria and other states have brought in laws where if your kid is struggling with the gay, you can't take them out of Victoria. You're not allowed to. You're just not.
Oh my Lord! I haven't heard that.
This is an old law, Michael. You got to know about this one.
Wow.
So you can't even take them to New South Wales to see a priest where they can sort of intercede and whatever. You're not allowed to parent your own child anymore, guys. Your child is a part of the state. All right.
Yeah.
People don't realise that. So when I say that's where things are at now, and it might make sense for you to consider, and not everyone in the audience can do this, maybe only 5% can do this, to consider taking your business, taking your family to a more economic opportunity sort of country, so that from that position of strength of securing you and your household, you can help Australia. The fight never stops for Australia. Let me absolutely be clear. The fight never stops for Australia. But you've got to do it from a position of strength. Yes. If you can't secure your own mask, how are you going to secure the mask of your fellow Australians? Yeah. And that's the call. I had to say that a couple of weeks ago, because I had the noticer. They published an article by some guy, Tim or something, saying, Joel's saying give up and fight. I'm like, guys, you know, like, if you want to misinterpret what I'm saying, like they're going to do it. But the fight never stops for Australia, and I love that line you said. You got to be better at how you phrase things, Joel, and because there are people, they are looking to you and some of the other shepherds, and for a fight back.
Yeah.
And for a coherent plan.
Yeah. Yeah,
and,
I totally agree.
And not, but also, as you rightly said, not bullcrap and false hope and hopium.
Yeah.
No one hopium.
No.
What is actually happening? How can I tangibly fight back? And what is actually going to be worth my time, not a waste of my time? I think a lot of people, they get told to do things that don't mean anything. And that's the guarantee I give people. I will never tell you to do something that I don't think will actually make a difference. And so, yeah, interesting.
It's interesting. There's, to show you the evidence that we are in a spiritual war, I ask people a lot. First off, the question I ask is, people go to me, I lost my family, I lost my job, I lost my everything. And now they're doing something that pays a lot less. And then I go, so do you regret not taking it? And they go, no. So that. But then I say, do you believe you're on the right path? And they go, yes. And I go, where are you going? They go, I don't know. And that's what I find interesting. People have a sense, no matter how hard it is, that they're doing what they're meant to be doing. They just don't know where they're going. But I just want to get back to recruitment and other things linked to what you were saying about going overseas. When I was in the Melbourne marches early on, and everyone was going, why won't they wake up? Why won't people wake up? And I used to say to people, this is what you're offering them. So say, Joel, that you hadn't joined the movement yet. You were just watching us.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, Joel, listen, to join us, all you have to do is risk losing your house, risk losing your career, risk losing your family, get a piece of cardboard, write freedom on it yourself, and come down to the Parliament steps and get pepper sprayed. And people going, I tell you what, here's $100 for fuel money. You keep going. I really like what you're doing.
Yeah.
We need to grow to the next level where, and this will get me in more trouble, because people used to say to us, we've got to put the Indigenous in charge. Now, huge fans of Indigenous. I've interviewed lots of them. But I actually believe we have to follow another persecuted race, which is the Jews. And what I mean by this is the Jews do business amongst themselves. And that's how you build commerce. So if I'm in a town where there's a freedom someone on our side and he's the carpenter, I would encourage all the people in that community, if he's good, to use him.
Yeah.
He builds power through economic power, networks are built, and then suddenly we're growing. We need to have something we can offer people. We've been spruiking 832 or freedom op shops, even something that could go around the country and could employ us and employ a lot of people in our movement, especially our women who are getting older. They could work in these op shops. The people donate the produce, the stock for free. We sell it. There's a lot of people hate the other op shops because they discriminated through us at that time.
Yeah.
So this could be a way we could start making money. I know in South Australia, there's a shopping centre that didn't mandate. Drake's, I think.
Yeah.
And he hires.
Yeah. Great guy.
And
John Paul Drake's,
Yeah, so this is it. It's looking for that and building business. One thing I like to do, like say your book's behind us. Yeah. I think we should. Publishers will not publish our stuff. Now we can get it published on Amazon. There's all these people in the movement around the world writing great books that they can't market them. I think we should market them with affiliate links.
Sure.
And then we're creating literature. We've got the free. If you really want to read fresh, dangerous new ideas, come to us. Yeah. I mean, they've got that festival of dangerous ideas. I'd hate to think, what they are because they gave in, but there's literature, there's music.
Yeah.
Another thing is I met a man in Newcastle. He was doing deceased estates. He had 6 sons. He took them out of school. They're all on our side. And he said he was basically ostracized by the community. So he bought a truck. He started doing deceased estates. Now he's on his way to becoming a millionaire because it's so busy. Right. And he's hiring us. And so it's not separating us from the rest of the community, but the more power we have by building healthy businesses that work, the more we can grow.
Yeah.
Even here, like the numbers you'll be doing, the numbers Hoodie's doing and we're doing, eventually advertisers are going, you know what, guys? These guys have the customers.
Mate, I've got an interesting perspective on this because I think you put your finger on something weird. And again, I apologize to the audience if you guys don't find this interesting, but to other content creators that are listening, I know they'll find this interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not easy.
It's not easy.
During COVID, the money came very easy.
Yeah.
And I think it's because it was such a tragedy.
Yeah.
And trust was at an all-time low. And trust has become a commodity online. Now, because our movement was best defined and seen starkly between our opponents and us by what we opposed. We opposed vaccine mandates. We opposed lockdowns.
We opposed Dan Andrews.
Now, this
We
was...
had an enemy.
Exactly. Now, that's like, guys, we're getting close to 5-6 years ago. That stuff wears down.
Yeah.
So we're in technically peace times comparatively to then. We've had to change. We've had to evolve slightly. Now, my approach with this, and again, some people might find this interesting or not, my approach has been to give people value through the elections that come up, through a free show online, through connecting them with how to be prosperous financially with our gold and crypto sponsors, who I'm happy to introduce you to for your own sake on the show, but also to give them value about doing a better job with regards to this mainstream media, where the mainstream media is falling over. I prefer to do that and make tools that they can use and understand who's shafting the country. And I'd prefer to do that than do a whole, and I'm going to use the word communist in nature, freedom movement fabric thing. It's a shepherd thing. It's a shepherd thing. You have a flock, Michael. You have a flock.
Yeah, we do.
They love you. They want value from you in whatever form that is, and they will support you. They will not support a thing in the sky called the freedom movement. That's just not, they like and trust you. Similarly, there's going to be a portion of people out there that don't like and support you.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct.
But they'll support TOFA. And it's
Yeah.
like, great. Go and support TOFA.
Yeah,
Go
100%.
donate a cup of coffee a month. You know, if he got a cent for every view he got, go and do that. And I actively tell people to do that for them and you. And the same with me. And I am happy to sit down with any podcaster in our movement and talk them through how we do that, how the Light newspaper survives, how, like, I'm an open book, how Joel Jamal and the Ark survives, how Turning Point funds its election projects, how we're untouched from any political interest that wants to influence us. I'm happy to share that because I want you guys to succeed. I will give you value in that sense. But this idea, and I've heard it with a few of your ideas now, both on and off camera, I love the idea of the Freedom Family being communistic in nature like that, but it's just not what I've seen be effective over the last few years. Like I do, one thing I do, for example, is I'll make a tool online, like they're trying to throw Moira Deeming out, if you remember that saga.
Yes.
And I'll be like, hey guys, I've gone and made this tool. It's a mass emailing tool. It cost me this amount. I've already paid it. It's been made. It's free to use. Just put your email in. We won't keep it. And click send on this email, and it'll go out to the Liberal MPs that are trying to throw Moira Deeming out. And we kept her. We kept her for a time. And it worked. And it was like, oh, okay. People actually donated to that. And so we actually made a 50% profit on that. So we put the money up front. We had no guarantees of people actually supporting it. And not only did we make the money back, we made a 50% profit, which of course went towards the next project, which we were going to do to give people value. That's been my approach, and that's going to vary for every content creator out there. I prefer that approach than what I wish we could do, which was pool our money, pool our resources like we're one big network.
Oh, no, that's not going to happen. We're still small businesses
I just had,
within that.
Sure, okay, so you get that.
But I think that you can offer tools that, like say if this Blue Bee took off, you can design your own Blue Bee. This is Joel's Blue Bee. It's just as long as it keeps the theme.
With eyebrows.
But say when, that's right. When we did, we started a thing called Culture, because I realized all these people were writing songs. This is before AI. You had all these musos writing songs from our movement. And I thought at one point one of them's going to write a hit. And then I didn't know anything about Spotify. And then I found out that the musos were making nothing, like 0.004 for a listen. And I said, well, these are original songs for our movement. Why don't we sell them for $5 each? $2 goes to Cafe Lockdown, $3 goes to the artist.
Yeah.
In the first few weeks, people said no one will pay $5 for a song because they can get them free. The first 2 weeks, we sold 1,000 songs. And then the government blacklisted us.
Oh, really?
We had, if you went on your phone, the virus protectors will come up and say, this has been deemed a dangerous site.
Right.
So our sales just dropped off. But we still cut the face of God with Spotify.
Yeah.
We still made him bleed. We showed that people will pay for it.
Spotify censored you.
We don't know who had censored us,
Right.
but we proved that people will pay for the work.
It's awesome.
And that's what I think will happen with literature. So say I've written a book, Topher's got a book, and basically it's affiliate links.
Yeah.
So your podcasters, it's one thing you come up, this is Topher's book, you've read it, because they trust you, so you'd have to read it. But this could get his words out there.
Yeah.
And we've got the audience who will buy the book.
Absolutely. No, look, I agree with that. And look, and I'm going to take it a step further. There is an attitude problem. There's a lot of people that think that, we're just going to be paupers during this peacetime after COVID, and it was fine during COVID to do everything on the smell of an oily rag, but now it's like, no. We need to get serious. We need our own proper media studios like the one you're in now. We need a corporate media at some point. That's going to cost $250,000. We need our own political parties. We need our own schools, homeschooling, which we've seen pop up. We need our own lawyers fielding lawsuits for the various fights we've got out there. We need to get serious. And so we can't be in the COVID strategy and mentality. And I think that's why a lot of people have gone back to work that had followings of 100,000 plus. And they've had to because they didn't quite work out how to pivot. But we need it. And the reason why we need it is because politics, the lifeblood, having come from just back from the UK and also the USA, I found out while I was there, 40% of these organizations in the USA, a lot of the big think tanks and political machines, 40% of their staff are just dedicated to raising funds.
Wow.
I was shocked when I heard that. I thought, maybe 5 to 10%. No.
Wow.
40. Imagine that.
Wow.
Imagine you got, 1,000 employees and 400 of them are just dedicated to raising the money to pay for the whole company, including them.
Wow.
It's nuts. And so when I realized that, I'm like, wow, it really
clever.
is the lifeblood of, but it's not just clever, it's freaking difficult. And that's in America. That's a bigger market. People are born with a flag in their hand and a Bible under their arm. They're more patriotic. They're more like, First Amendment, it's a free country, you can say what you want. We don't have that here. So not only is it more difficult, not only is it a smaller pond, but it's actually, we haven't even reached that level of a movement where we're getting there. We're getting there. We're almost there, but we're in an infancy. So sometimes I like to pat myself on the back and say, it's all right, Joel. I know you want to be here, but it's going to take, Turning Point USA is 13 years old, whereas you're 3 years old.
Yeah, that's correct.
So,
yeah.
And so I feel, because we've chatted about this on and off camera, I feel where you're coming from, man. But we need a whole mentality shift. When I was in the US, and forgive the rant, but Mike, when I was in the US, they had an abundance mindset. They were like, even from when, this isn't Scotch, guys, this is peach iced tea. But a lot of people think it's Scotch, and they think I'm having a drunken rant. So when I go there and I ask for a double Johnny Walker, that's how much they give to me. Guys, that's like 3 or 4 centimeters. When they handed it to me, I said, hang on, that's apple juice, right? That's not, that's peach iced tea. That's not Scotch. And they said, no, that's Scotch. That's a double. Neat. No ice. And it was when I saw that, and then when I saw how many business cards I got, how much networking, how giving and excited they were, how much they appreciated the hustle, I was like, what am I doing wrong in Australia?
Yeah, that's fascinating,
Well, mate, this is critical stuff.
Well, let's say Cafe Lockdown started with just me. Yeah. I decided, basically, so I was making a living in theatre. I was Australia's only independent funded playwright, and we didn't do woke stuff, and we survived on audiences.
Yeah.
And we annoyed Victorians immensely because you're supposed to do woke. That's how they took over culture.
Right.
You want to put a play on, you have to have an LGBT person in it. You want to do a film, a series, you have to go. That's how they take over culture. Politics is downwind from culture.
Yeah.
And so we're surviving. We don't bother with that. We just tell stories.
Yep.
And I was happy as Larry. So I didn't follow the world. I just was happy as Larry, living as an artist. Then they came out and they said the theatres are going to reopen, but they're going to be segregated. Only the vaccinated can come. And not because I was unvaccinated, but I know that art is for the people, not the chosen people. And so I made a statement, my theatre company will never play to segregated audiences ever, which is why I'm still cancelled. You can't, even though I have Colin Friels and other ones have shown interest in doing my plays, they can't do them because the theatres won't do them because I'm cancelled.
Yeah.
And so that very day I set up Cafe Lockdown thinking I'm an old man in my mid-50s. I'm just going to defend free speech by going live every day. I had no plan. I had no idea where it was going. Now we have 13 podcasters. We hardly do meetings. The only thing we talk about is who's got a free slot that we can do.
Yeah.
They're passionately doing it. When I watch the audience are our tribe. They passionately love it. If we get banned on one page, you see them come on and go, I found you. They actively seek us out and share us. And so we've got a loyal base. We've got loyal podcasters. So we have all the ingredients for greater success. Now we have to figure out, okay, how do we cement that success? How do we continue to grow? And we need finances to do it. And the reason I want finances is most of my podcasters are doing second jobs and stuff. I want them focusing just on podcasting so that they grow, they develop. Because we are the future of media, because it's not that we have the truth, but we have the courage to search for the truth.
Yeah.
And we're very good at pointing out bullshit.
Yeah.
And we are beset. We've got a tsunami of bullshit we're wading through.
Yeah.
And MSN can't do it.
Yeah.
They can't tell the truth. Not all the time. They just can't do it.
Yeah.
And that's what the people want. And so to me, I know the project in its last days was, I think, doing 10,000 a night. So we were kind of matching that. That's what we heard.
10,000.
So with all their money that they went into producing that 10,000, you'd break it down to how much each one of those 10,000 cost. We're reaching literally the same number, sometimes more. And I'm doing it from a bus with a laptop and a webcam and a guest that's talking for free.
Yeah.
So it's like Moneyball. The Moneyball thing. We can actually produce the same thing cheaper. And so it's getting up to the balance without losing the product. And the product is, and this is what I think the product is, I'm not a journalist. What's happening is an exodus.
Yeah.
People are rising up going, the way the government's taking us, I can see there's nothing there for me.
Yeah.
I want something else. I know I'm on the right path. I don't know where it is. So it's like a tsunami of change rising.
Yeah.
And I'm documenting stories from the first wave of that.
Yeah.
That's what I do. And I do it not just for you, but for your grandkids and your great-grandkids. They can look back and go, look at these people. They weren't all cowards. And so that's my business model, really.
Mate, it's perfect. You know? And that's the thing. I'm coming right in behind you and saying, mate, that's what's missing right now. And I know everyone's like, oh, of course, it's money. You need more money. No. You actually do in politics. You know, when Simon Holmes a Court picks 20 seats and puts $1 million a seat, he's going to win them.
Yeah, he's going to win.
And he picks the right seats. He doesn't pick the wrong seats out of 150. He picks 20 of the right seats, $1 million each with a targeted campaign in the online world, mate, and he takes them out. He takes them out. That's why the Liberals can't win the government for the next 6 years. So I love that you mentioned that you're doing that for 13 different podcasters, because it is the attitude we need, that abundance mindset. That's what's happening with the Light newspaper right now, and that's why it's surviving. That is also what I'm trying to bring to everything, all the projects that we're doing. And one of the things that really stood out to me that requires money, and I really need people to appreciate this, and this is from, this was pointed out to me, not by me, this is from Damien Costas. He just released this book called What Happens to the Lucky Country.
Oh, this is a perfect example. This is what we sell.
Right.
You know?
Now, you got to listen to this guy and get him. I'll connect you with him.
Yeah, I'll get him on.
He's coming on the show soon. He's been a long-time friend since like 2019. Now, Damien made the point, Joel, love what you do, love what all the other ones do, but none of you are serious. He's very crude like this. He's just like he gives it to me straight, and you need it sometimes. You don't want yes men. And he's like, Joel, none of you are proprietors of news. You're all just regurgitating and commentating on someone else's news. And the problem with that is when the mainstream media says we're going to talk about ice cream today, and what do you like, vanilla, chocolate, strawberry? Which one do you like? You're not thinking, hang on, but I want to talk about licorice. I don't want to talk about ice cream and which flavor. I want to talk about licorice. No. When you're a proprietor, when you're like the mainstream news, which has a newspaper, which has the TV, you have the money to set the agenda, to talk about, no, we're talking about ice cream today. We're not talking about licorice. We're talking about Israel-Palestine today. We're not talking about the homelessness crisis or all of this. And he said, Joel, this is the problem with the freedom movement. You guys are still quite small and you're not setting the agenda. You are reacting. You're not being proactive. And when he said that, I was like, it was one of those like really harsh truths, like you're wasting your time, but also you're not wasting your time. It was, I love what you do. It was with all love and respect. But at the end of the day, if you really want country shifting power, it's going to cost a quarter bill to $500 million to buy a network, to set one up, and to actually get this country back on track. And I didn't realize that until he said that. And so alternative media, it has its space. But at the end of the day, this stuff does impact things, but a lot of people, they're just reacting to the news that 7 News. And that's the thing. Even Chalky, we played his video before.
Yeah, that's right.
Everything he shares is reacting to someone else's hard work.
Yes.
Researching, sending the journalist down there, covering it. And that's why I love what you're doing, because it is the seedlings of that. It is going to the grassroots and doing that. But it isn't on an it's not yet on an industrial. And you acknowledge that.
Yeah, I do. I do. We're very, very small. I think.
But that's where we're going, and that's the point. That's where we're going.
Yeah. Last Sunday I remember thinking, because you get fatigued by the journey. But last Sunday, I think within moments, we had 5,000 live viewers, which stunned me because 2 of our main pages weren't working. And I was thinking, wow, that's incredible when you think of it. There's 5,000 people out there watching this thing that we're producing for free, and we're just chatting. And so I can see that there are seeds here, but we are miles away from that. I can see it at some point, like, I think the turning point will come when one of the major politicians will actually be interviewed. I know, who was the guy that went on Hoodie's show? One of the ex-prime ministers, Tony Abbott. That's huge.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
It's slowly coming across, and eventually they're going to have to, because if they want votes, if they want influence, we might not have what MSN has, but we have a balance of power. We have something there small with all of us. But at the same time, too, I think there's things that we do wrong. Like Hoodie and John Latta and I sort of produce the same sort of content. So we've got to a point now where I always watch them to make sure I'm not going to interview the same person the next day.
Yeah.
What's the point?
Good point, yeah.
Same audience.
Yeah.
It's not putting you down, same audience. So, and I would like in Cafe Lockdown now, some nights we do 4 or 5 shows a day, and the audience stays with us all day. And I tell everyone, experiment. What you're missing in capital, you can make up with innovation. Try different things. Like we don't even have a single show. There's so many of us who're single.
Oh.
We can actually have some fun. Instead of just going, the jabs are bad, the jabs are bad. Oh, did you hear in the last thing? The jabs are really bad. Yeah, we get it. Why not have a single show? Have some fun.
Yeah.
We've got a guy that does Friday, George Keswick.
Yeah.
He does a show where he brings up, he just makes fun of what's happening in the world during the week, but he actively talks to the audience live. Like he's a barman, and the audience is coming and he goes, hey, Jan, you're a bit late, this. And he builds community. Yeah. And I'm watching the audience. He goes for 2 hours. He can hardly get his show done because so many people are talking. He's building community.
Yeah.
And that, building tribes and community, is the way forward. Because once they're with us, they generally stay.
Yeah.
So we have all the ingredients to really change things. But we have to have these discussions. Like the discussion we get all the time, oh, you're grifting, you're grifting.
Oh, that's it.
We're challenging, where's the camera? We're challenging Big Pharma who made $1 trillion infecting your veins.
But you're grifting.
But I'm grifting.
You're grifting.
I'm grifting in my bus that was
literally.
from 1987. You know, they caught fire the other day briefly. You know, when I'm grifting, surviving on fumes.
Grifting, for those people that don't know what grifting is, and they see this comment all the time, grifting is that you change what you believe so that you make more money. Now, Michael is not making more money because he changed what he believes. He's clearly not. All right, otherwise this topic wouldn't have come up.
No.
And so neither am I for that matter. I invest pretty much everything I make back into the show except the food I eat. This suit is starting to get stinky as well. I'm the
same. It's
It's
cold
like,
in
I'm not
Sydney.
exactly.
I don't have warm clothes, man.
I'm not in a $5,000 suit right now, guys. It's like just in case you didn't pick up on it.
And this morning, just to tell you the truth, so I'm living in a bus. I'm in a car park called Kelly's Bush, a tiny little car park, and it overlooks the Sydney Harbour Bridge, which I find hilarious. Cost me $9 to stay there, and my toilet is a stainless steel bowl. It's a public toilet. So that's the luxury of my life.
Michael,
it's freezing
Michael.
cold.
Why are you such a big grifter, Michael? Far out.
And so even last night, I was just about to do my show and it poured with rain and one of my rear windows leaks. So I'm just going to the guest, look, I'll just be 5 minutes. And then I'm out there and I'm short and the bus is big and I'm trying to pull this tarpaulin over the bus.
Yeah.
Honestly,
the best thing you can...
I enjoy it because I think back in the future, say we got mega rich or we really churned the world, I think we'll look back at these times with fondness.
Yeah, well, look, but there's so many levels of this. First off, if someone's making good money in this industry and they're providing value, guys, you've got to get over yourself. This is why the Yanks are winning. This is why they're winning. They have a mentality of abundance, whereas Australia has a scarcity mindset and a tall poppy syndrome. If that guy's doing well, mate, he must be cheating someone out. It's like, no, hang on, guys. What are you, communists? There is a situation where people actually provide value and they actually provide a good product and a service and they do well, and you should pat them on the back. You shouldn't cut their knees.
Do you know what I think the tall poppy syndrome is?
Yeah,
I've always believed
curious.
this in Australia.
Sure.
Australians, and COVID proved this, the good majority of Australians are too frightened to follow their dreams. You know?
Oh, so it's
they
like...
go, I want to do something, I want to do that, but no, I would fail, and it's safer just to buy a house and get a job, you know.
Like an envious thing. So they pull you down.
And then they get to themselves and go, it's not possible. That's not possible.
Right.
You know, it would fail. It's not. And then someone comes along and does it. And they don't like that person because it makes them realize it is possible. I'm failing. I'm failing my own dreams. And that's what I think is happening. Where in America, if you failed at a business in America, instead of me going, I knew you'd fail, I knew it, they go, well, start another business.
Yeah. Better luck
Keep
next
going.
time, yeah.
That's business. That's what you do. You fail, you learn, keep going. That's what we've got to change.
Yeah.
So in even the Cafe Lockdown community, I tell all the podcasters, I don't care if you fail. Just try. Yeah. Who knows what will happen? Yeah. You know, so this new B thing, we've just put out that maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. A perfect example is the Forest of the Fallen. Now, I was touring Tasmania, and the artist of the Forest of the Fallen is called Selkie, and it's basically installation art. You know, it gets put in, set up. It's the most successful installation art in Australian history. When I came across it, I looked at it. She had it all set up in a park, and I thought, oh, this is gold. It just sits there. It doesn't... You take it in at your own time. You can walk around, you can ignore it, whatever. It's not screaming at you. And so I interviewed her, and then I asked her, what's it called? And she said, I don't have a name. And I thought, okay, well, let's call it the Forest of the Fallen. Yeah. Because the mainstream media, if they use it, it sounds so good. People, even if they use it in a derogatory term, people will be going, what's that? That sounds interesting. Yeah. And so I took 100 of them, and I was going town to town to do my interviews, and I plant this 100 of them. And the freedom movement, wherever I went, they'd go, this is great. They can do it themselves. So they spread the idea. At its high point, it was doing 150 every weekend. Yeah. And I don't know if it's going to change the world, but it's an idea that worked.
Yeah, yeah.
Where other ideas don't work.
Yeah, absolutely.
But your thing is, don't worry about it.
You got to focus on the positives. I mean, there are more people, and people don't believe this, but there are actually more people that see your videos. They don't leave a comment.
Oh yeah.
You get tens of thousands of views per video, and hundreds, if not thousands, of likes. They are all. You need to think of them as all positive comments. So when you see people that get enraged and they muster themselves up the courage to leave a comment that's negative, and their account looks fake, it has no face, and it's called Michael Gray Griffith.
Yeah, with two friends.
You got to hit block. I
block them all the time.
Exactly, and that's the thing, because there is a concerted effort of well-funded, often, people, either on the taxpayer basis or funded by some of these NGOs.
Yeah,
NGOs like USAID. They are targetedly going after populists that are out there. Yeah. And I haven't done a show on this yet, but it's happening. And this has been happening all throughout COVID to discredit and fracture the movement and to smear people, because it works. It does work.
They get paid, I believe. They get paid per comment. And then if you comment, they get a bonus for every comment.
Yeah. If you react, that's right.
I block them. Like Facebook now, we do Facebook Live. They have to wait 24 hours before they can comment again.
Yeah, and they make multiple accounts. And I've met some of these people. I know who they are.
Oh, really?
No, I know who they are. And that's why I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to... They want to distract you from your purpose.
Yes.
And I've explained this to many podcasters coming up. I've said, okay, you only have time to make 5 big videos a week. Because, you got 5 prime times, maybe 6 to 9 p.m. at night. I explained this concept to Dr. Joanna Howe and a few others. I said, when she was on the way up, I said, Joanna, stop sparring with clowns. Stop making a whole video going after this one comment from this one woman, because she picked up on it really quick. She was like, "Oh, that makes a lot of sense." I said, "Yes, you only have time every week." She's a mother of like 3 kids. You've only got time to do 5 videos a week for prime time during the week. All right. Now, if you spend 1 or 2 or 3 of those precious videos, that's another video you're not making for the thing you wanted to.
Yeah, it's
for them. That's mission accomplished. That's what they wanted you to do.
Yeah.
And when she realized that, she was like, "Oh, it's not about me protecting myself. They're trying to hijack my platform."
Yes.
Like, yes. Block, move on. Stick to your purpose. Her purpose is talking about, babies that are born alive and abortion. That's the thing she wants to talk about. Okay, beautiful. Stick to that. And that goes to anyone that's out
she's
there.
She's amazing.
Look at her. She's soaring now.
She's on fire.
She used to need my... now I need her to collab my videos, to get any reach.
No, she's incredible.
Yeah, she's... I hate to call her a dog, but she's a dog with a bone. Like, she works really freaking hard.
Yeah.
She's very passionate about this topic. She just dropped the story the other day that I think it was stillborn births. It's $4,300.
Which is the loophole, basically have an abortion.
Yeah. So your tax dollars, for those that didn't hear, your tax dollars are going to fund $4,300 per baby that is basically a stillborn or not born or an abortion, and it's like, hang on, that came from a Freedom of Information Act. Now, if we didn't have people like Joanna Howe not getting distracted by the clowns online and actually chasing this bone, we wouldn't have this story. And that's the story for any podcaster out there. We will back you, but you got to give people value. Don't give them bull crap. Give them a little bit of of the politics and the edgy stuff, but stick to your purpose and value, and you will never lose. They will donate to you. They will share your videos, and that's why I love you so much, Michael.
I think another thing to add to that, like blocking the trolls. Yeah, that's what we do. I talked to Dave on Eggs recently. He said he does the same. Just block them. But I would encourage Australians, if you're at home and you feel you want to do something, learn how to download the videos. There's so many apps that will do it, and repost it. Because if you just share...
Oh, yeah.
We know this from... the Stand in the Park creator was Brady Gunn. And he does these rants all the time.
Right.
They can get up to 1,000 shares. And I was with him the other day, and he says, look at the shares. Every share has not one single share has been reshared or had a like, or even a comment.
Seen that, yeah.
So they just go to basically we're kept in algorithms, kettled in algorithms.
Yeah.
And so what we need is people to learn, download, repost.
Yep.
download, repost, because that will, Facebook or the other one will go, oh, this is a fresh post. It'll go to more people.
Absolutely.
You can have a much more effective...
I have one issue with that strategy, and that is the original creator doesn't get the traffic. And that's not because of, I'm not talking about monetization here, but I'm talking about, the original source. Like if people want to listen to that person again.
To tag them?
Yeah, it would be having the tag is that people are doing that with my stuff. Well, perfect example. I did an interview with a woman called Alex who worked for one of the political parties, and she said she'd done research into the turbines and proved that they were basically a rort. And I interviewed her in my bus in Fremantle. She just came in, sat there. I thought, oh, that's interesting, and I forgot all about it. The interview has been stolen so many times. People send it to me, have you seen this? I go, well, yeah, because if you listen, that's actually me. And she was the one that got us the 10-year ban, because Four Corners did a hit piece on her based on that interview, not because I posted it, but because so many people were sharing it.
Did she defame someone in that?
No, I don't think she did. She just basically said they're a rort. And so Four Corners did a hit piece on her. And the next day I said, well, look, why don't you come on and just say what Four Corners cut out and just finish your voice.
Yeah.
And so she did. And I woke up in the morning and Facebook said, you've got a 3,649-day ban.
You're like, what is that?
3,649-day ban. How did they come up with that number? Why don't you just go 10 years? Like, you're a few days short.
That's why I love
just like Facebook gulag.
Jail. It's literally, like, we joke about jail, like Facebook jail, 30-day ban, 90-day ban. But that's actually like a jail term.
Yeah, every time someone tells me I've got a 90-day ban, I go, look, I do that for breakfast, mate. There's, 10 years. You got to go in Facebook gulag. I'm the one sitting there like William Dafoe in Platoon going, yeah, man, this is how we roll.
Is this your first time?
Yeah, this is nothing. Then I got a FOI to E. Karen.
Yeah.
And she got back and said, I said, are you censoring me on Twitter? And they get back and they go, no. And I thought, Paul. Anyway, then they get back 2 weeks later and go, actually, yes. A third party is censoring you, but we're not sure we're obligated to tell you who it is. So then they will tell you in a month. In a month, they get back and they go, yes, we are. And we're not allowed to tell you who it is. So I'm being censored by someone on Twitter. Not third party.
You know what I think it was?
But just to finish,
yes.
Then I called Twitter, contacted Twitter, and I've got these documents saying, and Twitter, the algorithm's going, no, we don't do that. I go, hello, look. It says here you are. And they're going, no, we don't do that. I go, can I speak to a human? Good luck. Good luck trying to get a human in Twitter. But we're actively being censored. And I think it's stopped now, but so many people in the movement, say Dr. Paul Oosterhouse, he'd be doing 100,000 views per post. Now he might get 300. So what they're doing is they're offering us freedom of reach, freedom of speech, but not freedom of reach.
But who do you think, if it's a third party, who do you think it is and what? Because it sounds, this is why I asked the defamation question.
I think
something
personally, I think it's the government.
Sure.
Would make sense. I don't see who else would be bothered. I mean, I'm such small fry. I can't even see what the government would bother.
But E. Karen said third party.
Yeah.
No, I don't consider government as third party.
Well, I could send you the emails.
Yeah, please.
When I get back, I'll send you the emails, and because it's long-winded and complicated, and I had a heart attack, which sort of put it on the back rung.
It's so good to have you here, by the way. I totally forgot when we were. I remember when we heard about it. I was like, all right, everyone's texting and calling Michael. I'll call him when he's got
Please don't die.
Literally, please don't die. I didn't send him anything. I was like, look, I'm just going to wait until he comes back out. Otherwise, all these texts are going to give a heart attack.
Turning negative into a positive, the thing that I learned in the hospital, which has changed my life, is that I was dealing with 4 hospitals in total. I was dealing with doctors and nurses and cleaners, everyone that works there. They were basically in the trench with me trying to fight death to keep me alive. I was in pure admiration of them. All these things we'd heard that they didn't want to admit this happened, they didn't want to admit this.
Yep.
And I had my laptop, which had Cafe Locked-Out on it, and I thought they'd be going, oh my God, we got the Cafe Locked-Out guy here. They didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
They didn't know who I was. They didn't know we existed. Nice. We've got an us and them. They've just got a them. And what it is they have to take vaccines all the time. They took the vaccine on the Monday, it didn't affect them, or maybe a few mild symptoms, and then they just got on with their lives.
Yeah.
Where we went on the Odyssey. When I was bringing up that this has happened about 5 or 6 times, they come up in their bed and they go, because they're jovial, there I am all cut up, and they're going, so you live in a bus, that's great, I want to do that. What do you do? And I go, I'm sort of an independent journalist. Oh, fantastic, what do you do journalists about? Well, doctors and nurses who sort of got deregistered because they wouldn't take the COVID jab, and they're like, it didn't sort of go, sorry, did someone hear me speak? They didn't know. Now, obviously, there's some that do, but the great majority don't, and that's what made me realise I don't see Taylor Swift on any of my social feeds. I don't see Australian cricket. I don't see all these things. All I see is Peter McCulloch, your stuff. It's just our stuff. Yeah. I'm being corralled. I'm in an echo chamber, and I think we still have to do stuff online, but I think we have to complement it by having a visual presence in the community, which is why I'm pushing the bees, something that we can be seen. Yeah. Not just doing town halls where we talk like at the Freedom Summit, but actual walking down the street, because say the woke. Now, you might disagree with everything the woke believes. Like, no, I don't believe a man can give birth. But they do, or they say they do, and they wear the rainbow-coloured hair to say, I'll stand by my belief. The Sikhs do it with their turbans. They get called all sorts of names. They still wear it. The Muslims who wear the full burqa, it's confrontational, but they believe it so much they wear it. You have to admire this. We blend in. I was at Tunks Park the other day. I went there to interview Rosemary Marshall. There's the Tunks Park group. Very passionate, lovely people. There was another group the same age having a birthday party, and I was telling people, I can't tell who's the birthday party and who are the freedom people. It's time that we have something about us that if you're walking down the street, you can see us. And you go, not only do I believe this, but I'll wear something to prove that I believe this. Yeah. But I'm not a fashion person, so I'm not a fashion designer.
I like how you think, Michael.
I think it should be out there to our community. We've got so many ideas. Like, say that bee could be earrings. It could be a necklace around the thing.
Sure.
It's something like that. It could bring wealth and abundance to the jewelry makers, to the T-shirt creators, to the hat makers. Make it yourself. And just go to a market and sell blue bee stuff or whatever it is we decide is the symbol. And then suddenly we're creating wealth and we're having people go, what's with this blue bee stuff I see everywhere? Who are these people? And we start another conversation.
I like how you think. And before we wrap this up, I do want to play this last video because we've almost been going 2 hours, Michael. See, this is why I said we got to start recording.
You can't get me talking. I'm an artist.
Mate. It's like apparently this guy had a heart attack. You can't stop him. Like, all right, tell me about this video before I play it. So you start every episode you do with this, or
no? This is we have several songs. So what it was before I finally cracked it as do you know I have a world record? I have a world record for going the wrong way as a tram driver. Because in my last year as a tram driver, so I was doing 2 full-time jobs, the theatre and the tram driving, and I couldn't concentrate on the trams because I had all these plays in my head and the business was building. Yeah. So I'd be driving, say, the 109, which is to go from Melbourne to Box Hill, right?
Yeah.
But the route converges with the 48, which goes to North Balwyn. Oh, no. And I'd be just going along going, then that actor could do that, then that actor could do that, let the people off go. And then, what? They're going, you 109, because there's a lot of Asians there. You 109. I'm going, what? And I'm heading the 48. And you can't turn around in a tram. It's on rails. So you've got to get them all off. There's 300 people getting off. They're not happy. If you say, sorry, I was writing a play in my head, they're not like going, that's okay, I don't mind. I'll wait here 40 minutes in the call for the next tram.
You're 109.
And this is what really happened. They pulled me in to sack me.
Yeah.
I don't think they pulled me in to sack me. They all really liked me. They used to come see the plays. Anyway, they pulled me in, they said, look, we can't defend you. We've got drivers here who've been here 40 years. They've gone the wrong way twice in their careers. You've done it officially 18 times, but we know it's about 36 times that you've done it in the past 18 months. We can't protect you. The union said we can't do anything.
Yeah.
So they sent this boss down, this head kicker boss, to get rid of me. And he's got this huge folder like this. He's going over, so, yeah. So have you got anything to say in your defense? And this is what I said. I swear to God, this is what I said. And the reason I don't lie is I'm too old to lie. I can't remember lying.
No, I believe it.
So I sat there thinking, well, I said, you know what? I just finished writing my first musical. I didn't do the music, but I did the book. I did all the lyrics. It's got together. I've got it together. And I'm pretty sure that if I could go the right way all the times in the trams, I probably couldn't write a musical. And the boss, he looked at me for a second, and then he burst out laughing, like you're doing now. And then he said, "Get the F out of here, Griffith." Yeah. And I went back upstairs, and the union's like, how the possibly did you survive? And so it was just this thing. But when I was doing the trams, one of my last months, I was going through Victoria Street. It was really cold, really late. And here was this woman. She was probably about 40, and she had like a 10-year-old boy, and they were homeless. And they were just pushing a trolley heading to the city. And I stopped the tram full of people. I went out there and go, "What are you doing out here at this time? With this little, what are you doing?" And they just said, "Oh, we can't find anywhere to stay. We're going to see it in the city." And there's nothing I could do. I didn't have any money on me. I couldn't. And it just broke my heart. How can this possibly be Australia? And the 10-year-old boy just looked blasé, like, yeah, this is my life. He's used to it. Then I had this transgender person who was traveling the trams because they were homeless, and they were sleeping. I left them in Box Hill, sleeping under a poster from a bank, and the bank ad said, "Your dreams are important to us."
Wow.
And it was a gold light coming, and it was bathing this homeless person, light and gold. And so this poem came to me, and I tried to get musos to sing it. Ben Antonitis did a version, but I tried to get other musos to put music to it because I thought this is a powerful song, but they're all scared of it. But then AI comes along, and so I just put it into AI, and we created this. And this is what I think. I think this is another way of getting our message across through art. And if someone is going to write a hit song, I don't know who it'll be, but like Oliver Anthony did with that great song of his, our children sing it. They know the words of it. We can't underestimate art. It's not saying that you've suddenly got to become Leonardo da Vinci.
Yeah, sure.
But we've got to work together.
Someone will do it.
The political, the arts that come together. Winston Churchill defended the arts all through the war because he said, if we don't defend the arts, then who are we?
Yeah.
And that's how we build our culture, Joel, because we have an extraordinary culture.
Yeah.
Historians are going to look back at us and going, look what these guys did with nothing.
Eyebrows.
And an old bus.
It cracks you. And a bus, yeah.
And an old bus. But look what they did. And that's why it's an exhilarating time. And I think we just have to keep trying and innovating. And as long as we don't quit,
Yeah.
that's how we win.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally
We
agree.
just
with that.
do not quit.
Yeah.
And people admire us when we don't. So all of us have had, like Avi's going through it now. They're constantly attacking us.
That'll be fun.
But Avi's not going to quit.
He thrives. He understands, like, you thrive when you're being attacked. It's perfect.
Yeah,
So
it makes it easy.
Yeah, Avi.
So this is a song. It's called "The Lucky Country."
Yeah.
And it's basically trying to document the decline and calling for people to say we have to address the decline. Yeah.
Let's give it a look.
And I posted it to this old video from the
When I
1950s.
met Jesus Christ, he was almost 10 years old. And he was helping his mother push a trolley full of all they owned. And because they couldn't find an inn they could get in, they were heading to the city and leaving Bethlehem. Couldn't you perform a miracle? I'm out of them, he said. I tried turning nothing into warmth, but it just made my mother cry. It just made my mother cry. Mary Magdalene has become a man, and tonight he's old, and she has been riding my tram. Now it's late and vault on the black man's bones was empty, and out the front a sign read all but sold. A sign read all but sold. And we all owe so much money, but to whom we're not quite sure. So head down, we just keep running along our fading golden shores. So head down, we just keep running along our fading golden shores. Come give us your natural gifts, we make wealth from toil. Come pretend for history's page that we're advancing Australia fair. Let's pretend that we're all advancing Australia fair.
Thanks for that, Michael.
No worries. It's interesting, you know, it's no time for it now, but what the shrine just wasn't a protest. The shrine was two stories colliding. The Australia we thought we were, which was us, with our freedom signs, and we looked like either we were on our way to the bingo or coming back from the cricket. And we were there defending who we thought we were on the shrine that was our most sacred shrine to freedom. And before us was the news story that they were trying to sell us. Police force dressed as stormtroopers who said, if you're not going to do what you're told, we're going to shoot you. And we're going to shoot you not because we have an issue with you, but to make sure everybody watching is terrified, and we'll shoot you too if you don't do what we say. And that's what it was. And here are these police officers storming up the shrine, not realizing what they're saying is, we don't care about your symbols anymore. We only care about compliance.
Yeah.
That's what the shrine was. It was far more profound than just a protest. It was basically not so much a defeat, even though we got defeated, because I was one of the ones there when people were saying, what do we do, what do we do? And I said, we're staying here. We'll get arrested here. Hopefully the world will see it. And that's why I had plainclothes policemen coming sit next to me. We're all scruffy, and they're sitting next to me dressed up going, hey, Mike, don't you think we've had a good protest? Maybe we should go home now. I'm like, who?
Plainclothes police officers.
Two of them,
did
yeah.
that.
I'm going, who?
I didn't know that.
Are you?
Yeah.
I've been in the protest. I haven't seen you with the protest all day. You know my name? I said, I'm not a leader, mate. I said, I'm nothing. I'm just here because I can see my country in decline. And then someone gave me a megaphone. I did my first speech. And this is not to brag, but this was the extraordinariness of the moment. So I ended up, I had cracked ribs, my head was beaten up, my hand been shot by rubber bullets. And I finally got back to my family, and Rahana and my daughter are in the car, and my daughter's in tears because I'm in the back seat just shocked. And then she goes, oh, by the way, you're going viral on TikTok. Because the speech, Rukshan had shot the speech and it had gone around the world. But you're just sitting there like, how did I end up in this bizarre world? I just wanted to be a playwright. I was so happy entertaining audiences.
Yeah.
And now I'm here on basically the death of democracy in a country I love. And that's why I'm fighting. I love Australia. We are a story worth fighting for. The fact that you and I are together, we're different ages, we come from different backgrounds, but Australia is worth fighting for.
Yeah.
And that's why I fight.
I totally agree. Despite the eyebrow thickness changes, but no, look, but seriously, no, I'm really glad that people like yourself have documented it. And, you know, the Battleground Melbourne, if you haven't seen it, from Topher Field was brilliant. And again, guys, this was 4 years ago. But if there's one thing I've learned from studying history, especially over the break while I was away, often these things don't manifest themselves politically for like 5 to 20 years.
Yeah, correct.
But they leave scars on the brain. That's why Poland is so strong right now. They got invaded by Stalin and Hitler at the same time. You know, like, that leaves a scar intergenerationally. And that's what's happened to Australia. And it may not manifest itself immediately, but that's why we're not going anywhere. That's why we're going to keep fighting. And that's why we need your support. And Michael, I take my hat off to you, because every time I watch the old footage of that, especially Battleground Melbourne, I cry. I tear up. It's not easy to watch it. But focusing on the good, you realise what it is that makes Australia great. The spirit that's there, the camaraderie and mateship that's there, that I do believe is the Anzac spirit that we saw with the Rats of Tobruk fighting against Rommel.
That's correct.
And I think that is still there. You don't have to be white to be that. I think that's still there, and that was the monoculture that Australia had before 2019. We're just the flame keepers of it for now. And
can I just finish on a funny story just about the shrine? Because there was one funny story about the shrine.
Yeah.
Do you remember in World War One, they played soccer together, the Germans and the English and the Australians? There was one moment where these police officers, who were Victorians, everyone thinks they were from overseas, they were Victorians. That's what's hard to bear. Victorians who dressed up like stormtroopers and shot their own people. But there was one moment, they were surrounding us. We were on the steps, we knew we were going to get arrested, and they were just everywhere, they had all the weapons, and then someone said, I've got an idea. Why don't you pretend we're a Black Lives Matter march? And we laughed, and the police laughed. We all laughed, because we got it. If we were a BLM, they would have gone on their knees. But because we were Australians fighting for freedom on the shrine built to freedom, they shot us.
Yeah. It's crazy. They accused you guys. I remember that so vividly.
The pissing? Can I just think, because I was there. Now, I'm going to tell you why the pissing didn't take place. One, I met the reporter who broke the story, Paul somebody. I said to him, did you see it? He goes, no, I didn't see it. The CEO of the RSL said he claimed he saw it on a CCTV camera. I said, well, why didn't he supply the footage?
Where's the footage?
Where's the footage? They would have destroyed the movement.
Name
from
and
the
shame.
beginning.
We will name and shame.
So they did. So they have the footage, but they didn't show anyone.
Yeah.
And I said, so did you see the shooting? He goes, no, I didn't see the shooting. Oh, so you didn't see the shooting, even though it was like everywhere around you.
Damaged the shrine.
So you didn't see the shooting and you didn't see the urination, but you decided to go with the urination because you thought us urinating was a bigger story than the police shooting protesters on the shrine. But here's the rub. Okay, now I have on my computer here, I have the picture of the horse that did the urination.
Oh.
It was a horse.
It was a horse.
And they, in the paper, they photoshopped out the shrine. And so the police officer is looking down at this river of urine. Now, every police officer had a body cam. Where's the footage of us urinating? There was about maybe 100 professional photographers there trying to capture a historic shot. Where's the photograph of the urination? We all had cameras.
Yeah.
Where's the footage? Rukshan and Joel Jamal, not Joel, it was, I can't remember the other guy, Joel, he's in the back, he's the last person running away. They were streaming everything. Where's the footage? And if one of us did get up in front of all those armed police and did the biggest we in human history, then that guy deserves a shrine for the balls in the bastard.
Maybe they confused the
so
horse. So
it was a lie. And the reason it was a lie and the reason the public jumped on it, because the public was looking, they're clearly bad, they're clearly good, but these people have the guns, so please tell us a way where we can believe that you are the good guys. Yeah. And the urination was the story to do that. It was giving the people an out, a lie to believe in, so they didn't have to face the fact that their own police had done something abhorrent.
Really, like, there's some bad people that got a lot of data on how to.
I'm going back to Victoria, so I'm so much trouble now.
No, you'll be right. You'll be right. They want
shot at the border.
Yeah, literally. No, you'll be right. But you know what? One of those things was, and again, I know we've talked a lot about this, guys, but it was a very important period. This is why I rushed down there when the borders So our Premier got recalled to Parliament for a number of reasons, including the fact that we did a petition, which was to simulate a debate about resuming Parliament. She'd stalled Parliament, Gladys Berejiklian. And we were putting a whole bunch of pressure things on because we knew if we could get her back to the Parliament, ICAC could eat her. But if she kept deferring Parliament, she wouldn't be able to, ICAC couldn't get to her. So once she was recalled back to the Parliament, ICAC got to her, and then we needed a new Premier. And we got Dominic Perrottet, who was relatively more conservative than Gladys. And he started an agreement to actually normalise the opening up of Victoria and New South Wales. The schools opened up at the same time. The borders opened up between New South Wales and Victoria. The moment that happened, within a week, I was down there with the Victorians fighting against that permanent sort of pandemic, not treaty, legislation that Dan Andrews ended up passing. But it was so hard when the shrine stuff was going on because we couldn't get down there. We couldn't actually get down there. And people had tried doing that.
Oh, they had, yeah.
And they got thrown in prison.
Yeah.
But people literally couldn't do that. Yeah. And so, yeah, it was frustrating. But look, man, I really appreciate everything that you did during the time. I can see the trauma. I got to admit, with me, man, every time I watch the footage back, I do tear up, even though I wasn't.
Yeah, I was tearing up watching that. It's very, very difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just so wrong. Yeah. It's just so anti-Australian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And that's the, yeah, because it's not what we like about this country. It's not what we were hoping we'd see. And so I want to say thank you.
No problem.
I really appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm sure we'll chat for another couple hours while you're here. And I really just want to make sure the audience knows that what you're doing and what you're about and your contribution to the nation, because I do see this as a service, what you've done. Now tell me, because we're going to leave, I'm going to get all the links from you after we wrap this up. What would you like to tell people? How can they support you in any way?
Well, basically, they've just watched. It's more like if they like what we do, it's just realising if you like what we do, unfortunately, you're going to have to help support us.
Sure.
If you can.
Cup of coffee, guys.
Whether it's a Substack subscription, a Facebook subscription, a gold coin donation we have up now in our shows, and pick the podcast you like. If you like George, support George. If you like Donna or Rahana or Dr. Pay or Oosterhouse, get behind them.
Michael, let me handle it. Guys, if you like seeing Michael's stuff, I've left his links in the description. I think he's worth at least $5 a week. So shoot him. Like, if you saw Michael in the street, I know you'd shout him a beer. I'm just telling you to do that once a month. It's less than a Netflix subscription. Support Michael. Get out there and help him with a cup of coffee a month. The amount of money I see people just waste on random subscriptions, funding the state to destroy them. Go support Michael, support his work. I'm going to leave all those links in the description. If you want to support this show as well, I've also got the links there for the Turning Point site. You can become a regular contributor on there where you can pay, $5 a month. There's also the Buy Me a Coffee online as well. Like, share, get this out there. God bless you all. Thank you for supporting us, and I'll see you guys later.
Thank you for having me on, George.
Pleasure, Michael. Anytime.